All right, let's do a review of the woodwind instruments with this little quiz here. So what I'll do, I'll read through the question and each of the responses. You'll take a moment to kind of think about it, and then we'll see which one's correct. Okay? So I'm going to press start. All right, so again, this is a woodwind instrument. So what do all woodwinds have in common? All right, are they all made of wood? They can all be found in an orchestra, symphony orchestra. They all require air to make noise, or they all create high-pitched tones. So are they all high, require air? Are they all in orchestras, or are they all made of wood? All right, what do you think? What do you think? All right, so woodwind instruments. So half of this name is deceiving, right? We know not all of the woodwind instruments are made out of wood, right? We know that the saxophone's made out of metal, and we know that most flutes are also made out of metal, okay? Not all of them are found in an orchestra. Usually the saxophone is left out. And some of them can actually create very low sounds, right? The bassoon would be one of them. It's a very low instrument. So they all use air to make noise. I have to blow into or across the instrument to make the sound, okay? Someone's going to be C. Here we go. Number 2. Which of the following is a woodwind instrument? Is it this one, this one, this one, or this one? A woodwind instrument. Well, this is a string instrument because that's got strings on it. So that's not it. This looks like a percussion instrument, something you hit. I don't know if that one's it. No, because that's made out of brass. No, I think it's gonna be this one. It's gonna be a saxophone. Yeah, the saxophone. All right. What would happen if woodwinds didn't have holes? What would happen if woodwinds didn't have holes? All right, you couldn't force air through them. You couldn't change the volume. You couldn't play different notes, or you couldn't make noise with them. If it didn't have any holes, well, a lot of them do have holes, so you can change the notes, right? You would cover them up to change the notes. So let's see if that one's correct. It is. So on like a flute, a clarinet, saxophone, all those instruments, there's keys or there's holes on them. You cover or press them to change the notes, to change the pitch. Okay. What word or which term describes most reeds? So remember the reed you use on the instrument, it vibrates like this, okay? And that's what's helping to make the noise on it. So is a reed twisted? Is it filled with holes? Is it metallic or made out of metal? Or is it woody, is made out of wood? I don't know. Twisted doesn't seem good. Filled with holes, that wouldn't be good. That's the instrument itself. The instrument's made with holes, or filled with holes. I don't know if it's metal. I think it's wood. Yeah, a reed is usually a piece of wood that's on it, okay? A piccolo is half as long as a flute. What can you infer from this statement? So this means what can you determine? What can you gather from it, okay? So a piccolo is half as long. What do you think the sound of a piccolo is going to be then compared to a flute? So is a piccolo going to be softer in volume than a flute? Is it going to be higher pitch? Is a piccolo going to require more air to play? Or can a piccolo play fewer notes? So I'll put it this way. So usually the smaller the instrument, okay, the higher the sound is. The larger it is, the lower the sound's going to be, okay? So a piccolo is half as long. So it's shorter than the flute is. So because it's shorter, right, now it's going to be a higher pitch. So the piccolo is going to have a higher pitch than the flute will, all right? A recorder has 7 holes. We talk about recorders in 3rd and 4th grade. We play them, okay? A recorder has 7 holes. If you want to produce the deepest note on it, the deepest pitch possible, you would do what? Would you cover the largest holes? Cover the top and bottom holes? Cover no holes? Or would you cover all of the holes? So we just talked about the lengths. So think about the lengths for a moment, okay? All All right, so if I'm going to produce the lowest sound, the deepest sound that it has, okay? Again, like we just said, the smaller the tube is, right? The smaller it is, the higher the pitch is going to be. I want lower, so I need to be longer, okay? If I just cover one hole, that means the air can escape out of this much. If I cover two, now it's going to be this much. Three, a little bit longer, so on and so forth. So if I cover all of them, the air has to travel through the whole instrument, okay? So I have to cover all of the holes to get the lowest sound on it. It's like sciencey stuff. I'm doing science and music at the same time. I love it. How is the mouthpiece of an oboe different from the mouthpiece of a clarinet? So those two instruments, how is the top or where you put your mouth on the oboe different from the top of the clarinet? Okay. Do oboes have two reeds on them, whereas a clarinet only has one? Oboes have a reed. Clarinets are edge blown, meaning you blow over, kind of like a water bottle, right? If I was to blow over the top of a water bottle like this, right, that would make the sound. Do oboes have one reed? Clarinets have two. Or oboes are edge blown, you blow over top, and clarinets have a reed. I'll give you a hint. Both of them have reeds, okay? So you know it's not this edge blown one. This is kind of like a flute, right? So do oboes have two reeds? Clarinet have one? Or is it the other way around? Oboes have one, clarinets have two. So on a clarinet and a saxophone mouthpiece, right? If this was the mouthpiece, here's the reed, right? It just kind of hangs out like this. An oboe and a bassoon actually uses two reeds together, so they vibrate against each other, all right? Which produces a different sound. So the oboes are going to have two reeds. Clarinet, saxophone just have one. We're getting there. Number 8, compared to a simple woodwind, like a recorder, all right? A saxophone is what? It doesn't have a reed. Does a saxophone is usually made out of the most expensive wood? Does saxophone have more holes in its body, or has valves instead of keys? So we're talking about the saxophone. So recorder, just said any other question, has 7 holes. We know saxophone has a reed. We just talked about that. Usually made out of wood. Now, saxophones are usually made out of metal. Has more holes. Valves are on brass instruments. We talk about that a little bit later, okay? So saxophone's going to have a lot more holes on it than just a simple recorder will, okay? What happens when you blow air past a reed? Well, we've talked about this a lot. We talked about this already. Think about this. Does it vibrate? Do your lips vibrate? Does the instrument vibrate, or do the keys and the holes vibrate? We just talked about this. It's going to be the reed, okay? So we talked about that. When you blow through it, the reed itself is going to vibrate, okay? Or the reeds will vibrate, all right? Woo! We got one more. One more. An edge-blown instrument never has what? Okay, we just talked about this. Right? It's easier on like a soda bottle or something like that. But edge blown will be like a flute. You're blowing over top of it or across it, not into it. All right. So an edge blown instrument, does it have a wide range of notes or pitches? Does it use valves, which is like kind of like a mechanism you press down? Does it have holes, or doesn't have a reed? I'll read through this again. So an instrument, edge blown instrument never has a wide range of pitches. It never has valves. It never has holes, or never has a reed. So edge blown. Think about a water bottle or a soda bottle. Is that going to have a reed on it? No. Okay, you're going to go blow right over the pipe. All right? Yeah, some of those are tricky, but I got a little star thing. Yay. That's not bad. I hope that helps with some of the woodwind instrument stuff.